Make sure you use the full screen button if you're using the embedded version. You are shape-shifting or more like stretching Swedish fish trying to get some pizza. The goal of the level is to collect 12 pizzas. You have to try and avoid the eye-twitching eddy and a few different sparks. Spikes. Use the arrow keys to change direction. Some blocks allow you to stop stretching while others don't. Once you press the checkpoint, you can press that number on your keyboard to go back there at any time. My daughter drew all the graphics while I did coding. This is my first on Ludum. Darling, what a ride it was been. Thank you for checking this game out. Alright. Hi, ridiculous fishing. I totally typed that incorrectly. No. Well, yes. We'll uninstall it in the meantime. Gildan cake. Fin no limit. Did I spell that correctly? Okay. Cool. Okay, yeah, started. Oh my.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum. Yum. Yum.
After reaching a checkpoint, you can press the corresponding number to teleport to it.
Yum. Yum.
Okay. Can I not move up? Alright. Can I not move up? Why can I not move up? Oh, okay. Holy cow, is this part brutal?
Yum. 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 Yum.
That's fine.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum.
I remember this part being brutal.
Sugar explosion.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Okay. This is going to be the most unpleasant part, I can tell.
Yum.
Yeah, let's go here.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Oh. I could have just teleported to number 3.
Yum.
This music is surprisingly good.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Okay.
Yum. Yum.
Sugar explosion.
What did I die from? Darn you.
Yum.
I know what I died from, and I realized that was my fault.
Yum.
But I want to blame the game anyways.
Yum. Yum. Yum.
Sugar
What?
explosion.
Oh,
Yum.
fine. I keep forgetting that you can teleport.
Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum. Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Yum. Yum.
Sugar explosion.
What? Why do I spawn there?
Yum. 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 Yum.
Ooh.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Darn it. Oh, goodness.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Sugar explosion.
Why? Alright, so 3 was
Sugar explosion.
Yum.
3 3 was easily the hardest I had to deal with, so...
Yum. Yum. Yum.
Sugar.
Darn it.
Explosion.
I'm thinking this too much.
Yum. 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 Yum.
Sugar. Explosion.
Darn it.
Yum.
4 is the least predictable part of this element.
Yum. Yum.
Sugar. Explosion.
Yum. Yum. Yum.
Alright. One. This game is hard, and I can't tell. I'm torn to think whether it's hard by being fair or not. There we go. My daughter Jasmine and I want to thank you for playing our game. We hope you had as much fun playing as we did building it. Okay. To answer Skynet's question, yes, eventually. Will appear as part of past broadcast in the video manager. Video manager. Alright, let's cover the screen. I'm not a fan of this lollipop, which, I mean, to be fair, you didn't use it in an offensive way, but ultimately, this specific build, I know you said was buggy, and I could feel it. Like, there was a lot of points where the controls didn't seem to work whatsoever, and that left a lot for me to be desired. Because otherwise, and then also there's the fact that as much as I want to say it's adorable how the artwork looks like, at the same time I felt it worked against the game because there was a lot of parts where the level was hard to read, and like I often kind of died for seemingly no reason, which I was able to discern the reason eventually, but like I don't know, the graphics just didn't help in that regards. It was very hard to read a couple of things. And I'm just filling the screen here. As much as I want to say this mechanic works in a way, because it's kind of like Snake, where you're you know, if anything hits you, you'll become vulnerable. The fact that you have a lot of these orange blocks tells me that that design didn't quite work out and yeah, like I can kind of feel it that those blocks kind of came in at random. There's also the teleporting puzzle, which was absolutely awful in my opinion, because everything seemed to lead to the dead end, and it was hard to discern which one was going to save you, and there was that one unavoidable monster. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm torn in a million ways because like there was in this Ludum Dare state, I thought it was very broken, and I'm not a fan of that. The stream is frozen. Is the stream frozen for everyone else? Alright, apparently it's good. Alright, so let's start rating this. Yeah, it's pretty much Snake for innovation. I did not find it fun. Again, my main issue was controls. Controls was unresponsive in the sense that there were moments where I was screaming like, why can I not move up? Or like, why can I not move right or left? And I realized that you have a post-jam version that probably fixes this. Flicks glitch in music and added tutorial. But I don't know, there were moments where the controls, I hit an arrow key and the fish will not move at all. And I realize this is not the fault of the daughter so much as the programmer itself, and I can understand that, you know, this may have been the first time that this person has made games, but yeah, that was a bit of a frustrating experience for me. Theme about shape-shifting, I'm willing to give credit for that. Graphics. This lollipop in the foreground is, in my opinion, terrible, but much more to the case, like the level I found was very hard to read. You have these, you know, lollipops all over, and like you have this little path going on. So one would be compelled to think that that's the direction you're supposed to go, but it's not. It's really noisy in the sense that what hurts you being animated helps, but like everything else just kind of, it's very distracting the way the graphics are laid out. And I know that, you know, the person who made the artwork is not especially a professional artist or anything like that, but I felt like they didn't. I felt like the people who were implementing this did not take the user experience into account, because this looks very busy to me. That checkpoint looks like a monster, in my opinion, and it looks like it's something that could hurt you, which I know in the tutorial you explained that that's not what it is. So that's like, it's over reliant in a way on tutorials and so forth. I just thought that the graphics worked against the game. So when I give it a low score, I'm not giving it a low score because I think the graphics are terrible or anything like that. I feel they actively made my experience worse by not putting enough focus on places where it counts most. This would be your character, this would be your wall pattern, that kind of stuff. So I feel that that coordination was going to be important, and it didn't come through in this game. Audio, I actually thought was really good. The sound effects is poor, but the music is exceptional. Whoever put the music together, great job. I really liked it. I could put it on loops forever, which I do literally in real life. But yeah, the sound effect on the other hand left a lot for me to be desired. So that's 1 star off for that. Humor, and I didn't particularly find it funny. I'm assuming that those monster texts was supposed to make you think, but yeah, I didn't particularly find that funny. And the over-reliance on using checkpoints to be able to get through the level is, I think, not exactly good design. There was some planning involved in it, and maybe I had fun in that line of thinking, but personally, I just did not think that was a good strong point. Mood, like, okay, fine. So it's happy dandy and everything like that. I mentioned earlier that I didn't feel that the graphics were functional, and because of the lack of functionality with the graphics and with audio cues not being either a little too over extravagant, as in the sugar explosion, versus the yum part, which worked better for me. I felt like that didn't quite. It was janky and did not fit. So yeah, I give it an overall 2-star. I think, the game idea could work. I'm thinking of those like the really long legend, or whatever the game was called from the previous Ludum Dare, that really worked well. It used a snake concept, but was about hitting the switches in the right order, navigating the level in the right order, and so forth. So as a concept, this works. I know that it does. But this current implementation right now feels very amateur, which is fine. But I guess what I'm saying is it shows. It shows, and it doesn't feel good to me. I can see where the seams are, especially with the controller, like the arrow keys not working when I want it to. For that, to me, is pretty bad, and I think it needs a lot of work. Like I said, I think the idea is fine. The idea itself works. In that sense, I think like the game itself, the game maker has good ideas and clearly is capable of creating functional prototypes. I just think that they need a little more practice. They need a little more research. I know that having children takes away a lot of time, but being able to do just a little more, being able to practice just a little more, I think would go a long way. And I certainly look forward to more. In regards to like making the game more like graphically more functional, I feel like a small bit of adult assistance could be used there, because yes, I recognize that for some places in these artworks, maybe the daughter had felt like it was a good idea to put these kind of things. Every once in a while, just kind of like dim out something and make it stand out less, so that I can focus more on the game itself where it actually counts. And yes, other so forth like that. It can work. I know it can work because there's been a couple of games that made it work. So again, I think it's just an implementation issue, and that is something that comes with practice. It is a fixable problem, in other words. So I feel like that's fine. I feel the game mechanic itself is solid and workable. I do admit, however, that the implementation needs a bit of work. Personally, I had a lot of situations where certain arrow keys would not function. This created a lot of scenarios where I was frustrated for the controls not working while running right into a hazard. Also, personally speaking, I think the graphics is rather flashy and distracting. I would like to focus more on the stage, hazards, and the Swedish fish, and less so on the background candy canes, cloud paths, more like purple vapors, and foreground lollipops. It doesn't help that the fish covers the text either. So that's my honest feeling about that game.